The webinar is on and Ridgely is not on camera.
But I am
He
now.
is. Look at that. The man with the holiday suspenders.
Hey, man, we're maintaining the spirit for another few days.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
there we go. All right. So how was it? How was Christmas there, Hubert Lee?
It was excellent for us. Nice and slow. Cooked a beautiful rib roast. Slow and slow. Didn't rush. It was awesome.
Yeah. Around here, it was super crazy, but that's okay. It's now calm again. So, but,
Steve, that's so funny.
hmm. And oh, by the way, I will share with you, since you know all these characters, that Andrew, Brandon, and I all have blinking suspenders, just so you.
Well, yeah. The question is, where is the on-off switch?
You know, it is right here. Has multiple speeds. You can go from there to slow blink, or you can go full lights,
Oh, okay.
or off, or
I think slow blink is more my style. Well, welcome everyone. The last mastermind session of the year originally.
the last one for 2023, which certainly has been the year of AI. If you think about it, ChatGPT 3.5 came out at the very end of last year. And I think it's worth kind of making some comments. Love to hear from you on what do you think has been the evolution up until now, Hubie, and what do you think is the future, especially since you have a little bit of visibility into ChatGPT 5, which most of us don't have.
Well, so I think the big takeaway is that this is the year it became ready for us to even fool around with, right? So prior to this, it was bleeding edge to the point where like you and I didn't even want to touch it because we're kind of sensitive to the written word originally. And when the quality of it is just not high enough, it just makes you too depressed to even continue, right? And then once it turned the corner and the output became error-free from a grammar perspective, but more importantly, the tone was a huge evolution. And now it's almost like I'm not going to say it's equal partners, but AI has become a content partner for us in terms of being a writing partner. I mean, it can actually stand its own in a writing circle. I mean, it sounds crazy to say, but a year ago it could not do that. So that really made it like, time to fool around with it.
Well, for me, I remember in the early days of 3.5, when I went to one of our masterminds and some of the uh, early movers, if you will, were playing with it and hearing all of their complaints and thinking, oh man, I don't want to do this yet. And then in 3.3.5 first started really kind of becoming more user friendly, where we jumped in, which is basically the beginning of this year. Um, I remember thinking many times, okay, this is good, this is helpful, but at this point, I can write better than AI. My copy's better, my emails are better, everything is better. And then ChatGPT 4 came out. So that was about what, end of May, something like that. Hubert, do you remember exactly when it was?
Yeah,
And
it was a rollout, so different people got to it at different times. But
so and then I started noticing that the content was just getting better and better and better. And I finally had to say to myself, I don't think I can write better than the tool. And I remember being at the mastermind, the Flight Club at this point. The Flight Club is my number one go-to place where I go to. We all learn in different places. Hubert has his groups. I've got mine. Flight Club is the one that I go to where some of the biggest marketers in the world hang out at. And having the conversation with Stefan Georgi. And Stefan Georgi, they call him the billion-dollar copywriter. He's responsible for some of the biggest campaigns in the world. And listening to him say, the age of copywriting is dead. Like, well, what do you mean by that, Stefan? Well, what I'm saying is the tool can write better copy than you. So if you know how to use this tool, you can write better copy insanely faster And we move from an age of copywriting into an age of copy editing and optimizing. And so the copywriter dead concept doesn't mean there's not work for copywriters. It means that those who don't shift into using a tool that is more powerful, it's kind of like saying, I don't care how fast your horse and buggy is, line it up next to a Ferrari and you have no chance. Zero. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Right. And that's kind of, if we think about analogies that have gone in the past, how fast something becomes obsolete. Your Blockbuster video went away because of streaming and all these different things that have happened multiple times. In this case, we are going to see many functions replaced by people who know how to use AI. So to the comment, is AI going to replace a lot of jobs? My answer is AI is going to replace a lot of jobs from the people who don't use AI.
There you go. Or the people that don't know how to use AI. And I agree 1,000% with everything that you're saying. My main breakthrough in my thinking this year has been that AI successfully evolved to a point where we can think of it as a transparent medium now, and meaning we no longer care how to fix the AI so that it works. Now that it works, we can concentrate on what we want it to do. That's the point of this mastermind, right? So if you ever like think about like uh master chefs or whatever, they're not concerned about the technique so much as to the experience that they want to create in creating their meal, right? They want a wonderful meal. So right now, a lot of the people that are I don't know, I call them AI jockeys or whatever, and they think that mastering AI is about the nuts and bolts. Those are the people that actually get caught flat-footed when the nuts and bolts are fine. You don't need to turn them anymore. The question is now, what do you want the machine to do? Right? And like there's steps to getting to where you want. And it all falls back on, as small business owners with a diverse variety of interests, everybody has subject matter expertise in their area that you can turn using AI as a tool, turn it into like unique voicing and everything that's only you. And visually, it like makes it more apparent who we want to, be in terms of our marketing voice. It's quite extraordinary. It's like when Apple said, Steve Jobs would say, "No, no, I want my machine to be transparent. I want you to enjoy the content that comes on my machines, not marvel about my machine." Right. And so AI has become that for us. It's become transparent. And that's why we concentrate on like what to do with AI.
And that's very interesting because I was on a phone a little earlier this morning with one of our mastermind members, Steve Black, who is in the process of putting together a new product offering. And we were discussing it. And he was discussing the idea that he's working on some prompts and whatever. And I said, let's bring that to the mastermind because that's exact. So Steve is with us. He'll join us here in just a second. Because that's exactly what you just said. By the way, the blinking started to bother me, so I went to solid. I hope you don't mind. It was okay, right? I went to slow blinking because you didn't like the quick blinking, but then it was bugging me, so I went to solid. Is that cool?
That's
Yes.
good.
Okay. So it's exactly what you're talking about. How do you use this tool to enhance your zone of genius? So Steve being a chapter leader for BNI, a number of different chapters, which is a referral-based marketing solution that they're, the biggest one in the world, by the way. The ability for him to create uh, prompts that further that process along. In other words, how do I, Steve Black, take my knowledge that I already have in my zone of genius for running a BNI organization that has 400 business owners in it and use that to expand their possibility? And that's exactly what we're going to do here in just a little bit. And I think that for all of us, that's the thought process to have. How do I use this tool to enhance what I already know? Which is no different than how does a professional athlete use these particular tools to get better at whatever their game is, right? It's not as though those people are trying to play a different game. They're trying to get better at their game. And I think that there will be some monumental advances in AI that take us to a different conversation later on. But the conversation where we are today and the point behind this mastermind is, hey, what's your game? How do you use AI to play it better, to be better at it, at marketing, messaging, communication, tools, courses, whatever it is that you do, let's make that better, quicker, faster using AI. And I think that's where, starting out the year, kind of our focus is in that space. How does everybody that comes into this mastermind use the tools that we have, the trainings that we offer to enhance what you're doing and have 2024 be your best year ever?
Yes. Now, before we get to Steve, may I do a little teaching for Elaine? I meant to do this last time because she asked this last time, but just to follow up on what I was explaining last time about installing plugins and so forth, if I may share my screen and we can do that originally?
Sure, of course.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so on the way there, let's take a look at my desktop. Okay, actually, I was running this, Elaine, before we talk about that, let me talk about this for Terry. So Terry asked, is there a prompt that she can run using to create a video for her website? And so just as a reminder, there are oftentimes many one-click type prompts. You don't even need to see the prompt, but it just does the output. So in the PAF brain, you enter the URL, my local roofer, tomjanisroofing.com. I selected GPT-4. You click in this box here and you go and you select, whatever you want. In this case, I chose video script writer, which is built in. Hit submit. So I just press one button and it gives you a voiceover based on the content at this URL. If you want to enter free text, you can click enter text and then, put in something, but just have it analyze the URL. It's all automatic. And then you can use this as a starting point and then roll into the techniques that Ridgely teaches, with his prompts to go and put it into ChatGPT Plus and further refine it. Okay, so there is a single click video script writer in the PAF frame. Okay, so now let me roll over to ChatGPT. Let me go and open it. So Elaine, this is if you have ChatGPT Plus. It's a $20 a month subscription, well worth it. If you notice here, I have selected from these three options, this plugin option, okay? And then you go and you choose your plugins here, but you probably won't see this if you haven't set it up, and this is how you do it. You go down to the lower left and you click your name and you go to settings and beta, you click that, and whatever you do not click this red delete all button usually. This should say Ridgely, do not click this. So anyway, you go to beta features right here on the left and make sure plugins is turned on. Okay, so first, again, at the account level, you go into your settings, beta features, and turn on plugins. Okay, so that's the first step. Once that's turned on, you will see that you can then choose plugins as the way you want to operate. And then, more importantly, you click this drop down here and you scroll down and you go to the plugin store. The plugin store is a very cool place. Okay, different people have written different plugins that you can browse through and install. As a matter of fact, just to give you a
let's just say one thing real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, Hugh.
hmm?
That doesn't mean you need to install all of these. Don't be worried about plugins that don't make sense to you, that you don't need. Like, you don't need Kayak if you're not doing flights or rental cars, right? So just to let you know, pay attention to the plugin. Don't be like click, 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 click. You just overload yourself. If you don't need Zaps, you don't need Zapier. Okay. So just think about the ones you do need, and let's have Hubert highlight a couple of them that are likely to apply to our mastermind members.
Yes, these two right here are very key for me. VoxScript, which lets you go and look at YouTube transcripts, okay, and WebPilot, which lets you browse, a URL. Okay? And you'll notice that the ones that you don't have, you can click on install, and once you have them, you can click uninstall. And then the point is that after you go and browse things from the plugin store and install them, they then become available in your drop down selection here. Okay. And oftentimes, like for example, there are little gotchas. If you want to have VoxScript go and give you input based on a YouTube transcript, you would turn it on like this. But then I personally always turn off everything else and only run that one script at a time. And then you can tell from here if it's one or two. If you want to enable another one, like let's say WebPilot also, then you'll see two right here. Okay, so Elaine, that's how you actually do it. And again, you click on your name, you go to settings and beta, you go to beta features and make sure plugins is turned on. And then you go and you visit the plugin store right there. That's the little how-to tutorial.
All right. Excellent. Anything more in our Zapier? Just an FYI, Bridget, the thing about Zapier is A, it's not easy to use. So maybe AI is making it easier. And B, it ain't cheap. So just be aware in using Zapier, sometimes that can crank your bill up pretty good. Good description on what each of the plugins do. You know, David, if you look next to the plugin, they usually say, they give you enough to say, hey, should I explore this anymore or not? And then if you really want to know what the plugin does, use AI. Just ask, hey, what is the best use of Vox? What is the best use of WebPilot or Zapier or whatever? Do we pay extra for using plugins? Generally, no, because it's in beta. Although I'm going to qualify that with you probably will in the near term.
Well, also don't forget the model too. The plugins are provisioned by third parties, and some of them are extraordinarily cool and do very complex things. And the developer oftentimes does charge for the most premium levels. You have to turn on that by paying for it. It's very similar in concept to apps on your phone.
Yeah, for sure. David says touche. Exactly. Yeah, for example, this morning, my wife Kathy just discovered that Amazon Prime is happy to let you continue browsing on Amazon with no commercials if you pay $2.99 a month, or you can see the commercials as you're browsing on Amazon. Just came out, so hey, everybody's got to make $1. I'm all good with it. Okay. All right, let's do a little work here. I'm going to bring on Steve, and we'll talk about exactly what Hubert was referencing in real time. Literally, this was a conversation that happened an hour and a half ago. So you can see that this is the real-time application of how do we do this to expand our zone of genius. And once again, while Steve is joining, there he is.
Nice hat. Nice hat.
Yes, indeed. I will share
Good
with
morning.
you that I did have a hat like that with these suspenders on at one point on Christmas
I
Day.
saw the suspenders and I just couldn't help myself.
There you go. I think it's great. So to set this up for everybody, again, so Steve has a business. He runs multiple BNI chapters. BNI stands for Business Network International. It is the largest business networking organization in the world with over 300,000 members. And what they do is they teach people how to use the power of networking in multiple forms to grow their businesses. And the numbers are quite substantial. I had a chance to get some numbers a little earlier from Steve, and on a global basis, literally all over the world, the numbers are really pretty big. They in Steve's business alone, his members have resulted in over $50 million in business referrals in the last 5 years, and about $36,000 per person that joins in business to their referral revenues coming into their business, which is huge. I mean, that's very big. So there's a very big situation here. There's a lot that people can learn. And so Steve is building a method by which people can enhance what BNI offers to become expert networkers that really know how to use the tool of networking to grow their business. And then came AI, and we were having this conversation and said, hey, we're building some prompts to help to help his members learn how to do this as part of an upcoming course. And I said, hey, why don't we bring this to the mastermind and openly discuss it? So if you think about everybody that's watching, this is Hubert and Ridgely for the first time having a discussion about something that Steve is creating as part of a course that he's building right now to use AI to enhance his zone of genius. Did I set that up fairly well, Steve?
Yeah, fairly well. I've always had this thought that there's more to networking and referrals than just BNI. And BNI is fantastic. I mean, we're talking about, nearly $40,000 per member per year from a membership in an organization where local small businesses pass referrals to each other. If you have a realtor and a mortgage broker, they are going to pass referrals to each other. In BNI, we teach them how to do that and create very strong relationships. But I was thinking more about the referrals and how they happen. Theoretically, referrals can come from all sorts of sources. I mean, you hope that your mother, your sister, your brother will pass you a referral when they come across somebody, but they actually haven't been taught how to do it. And they haven't been taught what your ideal referral was. So what I did is I took the networking part of it and said, okay, that's one part of how to get more customers for your business. And then said, well, what about word of mouth marketing? And I've spent the last 3 years online since the pandemic started, learning a lot more about the online world, if you like. And reviews and recommendations, word of mouth marketing is another great way with your customers and people talking about your business. Well, bringing that second part there. And then I thought, well, the third part is basically saying I need to create a partnership with one or two or three businesses where I know they're going to find me lots of referrals on a regular basis. And, my network in the last 3 years ended up with me meeting Ridgely, talking about my project and start sharing the idea. And it's like, okay, we've got a strategic partnership happening right here. And combining it with AI just meant it didn't take me another 10 years to build it, by which time I'm probably going to be retiring anyway. AI's created that opportunity for me to do things a lot more quickly and use my expertise, my knowledge within that realm to make sure the information was accurate, usable for my clients.
Now, here's the good news. The good news is that what we're about to do using AI pretty much applies to every single business on this call right now. Everybody in this mastermind is going to benefit, which is why I was particularly excited that Steve agreed to go public with what we're doing over here and kind of play with it to make it better. Why is that? Because everybody wants more business. Well, guess what? To get more business, it's a really good idea to know where to look. Now, you could do it old school and start flipping through yellow pages. You may remember those yellow pages. Used to be this big, thick book. They'd deliver it to your house every year, really thick. And no, now we can use the tool. So shall we do this together, Steve? Let's have some fun.
Sure, let's go.
All right, so we're going to share screen and we are going to hop in to our favorite friend over here, ChatGPT 4. We're going to set up a brand new conversation. And so where would you start? See, what would you, if you're counseling through your course, new people, what are the things they need to know?
I think to me, and this is something that took me a while to figure out, the biggest thing that most businesses don't share is their ideal customer, right? I mean, you may know intrinsically who your ideal customer is, but if you never put it down in writing and never share it with anybody else, the only time that you know that you've got your ideal customer is when you come across them. The problem is we don't know all the details about our ideal customer. I mean, I could say my ideal customer is an insurance agent, but I've just turned around and figured out there's 18,000 of those in Texas. And not all of those 18,000 are going to be my ideal customers. So what are they? And I said, okay, I need an age range that I can work with that suits my BNI membership and what I do. I came up with 35 to 45. Okay. Do I want to go for the independent broker? Do I want to go for a brand name like State Farm or Farm Bureau? And it started me thinking about, I literally have hundreds of ideal customers. But I can't ask for anybody or everybody because there's 8 billion people on the planet and nobody's going to be a good fit if I'm too vague with what I'm asking for. So if a business does not know who their ideal customer is, and you'll have more than one, but But if they don't know that primary ideal customer, the one they want to work with all the time, that makes them the most money and they enjoy working with, then their business is going to plod along, if you like.
Yeah, so let's look at the library, right? We're in Ridgely's prompt library, and let's walk through this. And so this is a process that anybody can use for their business. So I'm going to insert that at the beginning. And I am going to delete that for a second. Begin building a prompt to help find an ideal customer. So then what should the prompt be about? Well, I will just say you're an expert researcher and you are charged with finding the ideal customer and building a profile about that ideal customer. Let's pick a business, Steve. Pick one. What do you like?
Printer.
For a printer? Printing company. Okay, great. That's not enough information to get a great prompt here yet. So we're only getting a 6 out of 10. That's a terrible rating. That's absolutely a terrible rating. So what are we going to do? We're going to look at, see, it lacks specific details about the type. It's broad and needs to be focused to guide AI. So what are we going to do? All right, what type of printing services are we offering?
I'm going to go for screen printing.
The client offers screen printing. And what market segment are we focused on?
Schools and colleges.
Focused on the market segment of schools and colleges.
Yeah.
What is there unique about our special, our proposition, our service that we offer? What's unique that we do?
It's volume printing with a local service.
It's volume printing with a local feel and service. Okay, let's see how far that gets us. Again, and what we're going to do is we're going to build the right prompt, then we're going to run the prompt, and then we're going to iterate and link from the prompt. So as you can see on that very little effort, we went from a 6 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10. And now we're going to say, okay, suggestions, consider including details about the types of products most relevant for schools and colleges. What products do you think we have that are relevant products?
Sports shirts for different sports teams, baseball caps for fans.
Caps. Is there a regional focus? Do we have like, is it primarily universities and colleges, also high schools, or what?
High schools would also be a good fit if we actually focus on high schools instead of just schools. And colleges, they're more into the sports, and there's normally a requirement for the sports teams to have to pay for this, pay for their apparel.
We focus on helping teams pay for their apparel with sales of clothes and caps branded with the school name. And again, if you notice the way I'm talking to the tool, I'm talking to the tool as if I was having a conversation with somebody. So let's see how far that gets us. Again, it's always a learning experience. So now we're getting a prompt. You're an AI expert in market research, assigned to create a detailed customer profile for a screen printing company specializing in sports shirts, caps, and various swag items. The company's primary market comprises high schools and college level institutions with a unique business model that assists the sports teams in funding their apparel through sales of branded clothing and caps. Your task is to analyze in detail the needs, preferences, purchasing behaviors, and funding mechanisms of these educational institutions, specifically focusing on their sports teams and related merchandise. Now we went from a 6 to an 8 to a 9. Okay, What else might we, says, does the company operate? Where's the geographic region?
Because we're focusing on the local aspects of this printing company, I would say that Central Texas would be a good market, somewhere where it's within 2 to 3 hours of where I am.
Central
Um,
Texas. And any Central Texas, let's say, where sports is a huge thing. Any market challenges or constraints that you think?
Competition. Yeah, go Longhorns. Absolutely, Elaine. I've heard they're a football team of some kind.
Exactly. Okay, we'll give this one more prompt, see if we get it to a 9.5 based on that. And then we'll run the prompt and then we'll iterate and go a lot deeper. Okay, we got a 9.5. I think that's good enough for us for illustrative purposes. So again, one of the things we could talk about is how we differentiate ourselves, but because this is illustrative, we're just going to run this. And then we're going to get way deeper, because just getting the beginning is not enough. Let's take it much further. Okay, here we are. We're running the prompt. There's the prompt. It's giving us some stuff. Give it 1 second. Great. So what do we want to go into? Psychographics, demographics? What do you think, Steve?
I feel that we need both. So what I want now would be to take it to the next step and say, okay, I need 10 demographics and 10 psychographic identifiers for the ideal target market.
Graphic and 10 psycho. If you notice there's a spelling error, it doesn't matter. ChatGPT doesn't care.
It's smarter than us.
10 demographic, 10 psychographic factors of our ideal client. So now we're going deeper. Notice how it corrected the spelling. All right, demographic factors. Age group, occupation, educational institutions, geographic location, income level, school size, sports program size, decision-making authority, gender, type. Psychographic, value for local, quality consciousness, brand awareness, community engagement, fundraising orientation, competitive spirit, economic savvy. Okay, based on all these, environmental awareness, trend sensitivity, loyalty to providers, now we can start to dig a little bit deeper. What are how would you word it, Steve? We'll do it your way.
What question were you going to ask?
About literally finding these people. Like what are these people, your target client, target customers for networking? How would you express that?
Okay. So based on the demographics and the psychographics, identify 5 other business professions that would have connections with these ideal customers. Help them with other products or services, or,
And why would you want to do that?
The whole point of networking is to have people that know you, or trust you, and like you, refer you to other people that need your products and services. And if I can find and get to know other professions that work with these people, I can actually build those relationships where they actually introduce me to the people that I need to connect with.
Yeah, so look at that. Here we go, right out of the gate. Sports equipment suppliers, event planners and coordinators, promotional product vendors, athletic facilities and service providers, educational consultants and advisors. Right there, we're beginning to build a profile of people who would naturally be a fit for networking with these printer, right? Is everybody tracking with me on this?
Absolutely.
So now, what else would we like to be able to do? Basically, we've got some good information so far. Where do we want to take them next?
Next would be the communication with the either potential referral partners or potential ideal customers. And I think if we're going to go down the networking route, I would like to find out the best way to, one, meet these people, and two, how to communicate with them to build the trust.
Way to communicate with these ideal referral partners and connect with them to build trust. Notice that we're going to stop here. We're not going to say to make a sale. We're going to start with the trust building because that's the first part of this equation. We can go to sales later. We can go to sales pages. We can go to email communications. We can go to social media posts. We can do whatever. So here we go. And we're getting certain methodologies: network and relationship building, attend industry events, local business gatherings, join local business association, direct outreach, personalized emails or calls, offer to meet for coffee, collaborative projects, educational content and workshops, leverage social media, referral program, consistent follow-up, building personal relationships, professionalism and reliability. As you can see, there's a lot of richness here. So look and notice we're talking about something that has been created in a matter of minutes. What would take a group in a big conference room, sitting around, dialoguing, researching, whatever, etc., hours and hours and hours to come up with this already. Where would you go from here, Steve? Where would you want to go?
I think the next step would be to find the most likely places they would hang out. We look at networking, relationships, community involvement. Where are the best places that we would actually find those ideal referral partners? Because not every one of them is going to be relevant.
Great. Let's ask. In other words, what I'm doing, and team, if everybody's noticing this, what I'm doing is I'm not second guessing the tool. I'm just asking the question. We can go deeper for sure, but I'm just asking the questions as they come up. Hey, where are the most likely places to find them? Industry conference and trade shows, local business networking events, educational workshops. So we're seeing a bit of repetition, but it's just because we're exploring. We can take any one of these deeper. You could say, great, tell me more about local business networking events. Great, what are other online professional networks, etc.? Vendors, expos, local business directories. You can see that there's a ton of value here. Charity events, community projects. So let me just go down a track for a second. Let's just suppose that you happen to be a real sports fanatic and you knew that there's a sporting event coming up that is benefiting a charity. What could you do? I'm just going to, we'll come back to this in just a second, Steve. I'm just going to do a suppose. Ask the question. Great. Great. Thanks. There is an upcoming sporting event that is benefiting a local charity. What are 5 ideas that would put me, client, in front of the right people at that event to promote my printing business? You can just ask the question, give me some ideas. And look at how quickly this is going to come up with this. Here we go. Sponsorship or partnership. Of course, consider becoming a sponsor or partner. Branded merchandise booth. Set up a booth where you can showcase your stuff. Interactive activities or contests. That stuff is great. Contests at a booth really work. Quick design contests where participants create a simple graphic and the winning design gets printed on a t-shirt on the spot. That charitable contributions, networking and personal engagement, social media promotion, collaborate with other vendors, special event discount, wear your brand, follow-up strategy. Pretty good stuff. Steve, what do you think?
Absolutely. It's a great start.
Where would you go next? And Hubert, you can interrupt us anytime. I know there's a lot of comments happening in the chat. I'm sure people are like, geez, what are you guys doing?
Okay, so bearing in mind my target market is going to be people that work with high schools and colleges, and we
Mhm.
identified some of those earlier in the prompt. What I would like now is if I was able to attend this event and have a free giveaway, what would be the perfect giveaway for that event that you've just talked about?
Charity event and have a free giveaway. What would be the most effective
And unique.
giveaway that is memorable and unique and would accomplish the objective
If it says business card, I'm going to complain.
of connecting on a deep level that would likely lead to a follow-up with that person and their business. Notice how I got a little bit more granular here because we're trying to get good ideas. Give me your top 3 ideas because one of them might come back being way too expensive or way too complicated. So let's just get the top 3. And I got more granular because we're getting deeper into the thing. In other words, we're just linking one prompt to another to another. Okay, here we go. Free giveaway. It's important to choose items that are not only memorable and unique, but also resonate with your screen business, printing business, and the interest of attendees. Here are the top 3 giveaways. Number 1, customized sports accessory with interactive element. Yep, I like that. A useful sport water bottle, wristband, Okay, limited event themed T-shirt. Ooh, I like that better because that's unique and different. Create a limited edition T-shirts for the event. Could incorporate the charity's logo, the theme, a creative element. Only a limited number of these are available. Or idea, a photo booth with branded frames. Again, so we came up with 3 ideas. Option number 3 is expensive,
Yep.
right? There's a big cost to that. Option number 1, in my mind, kind of vanilla. But option
Yep.
number 2, the limited edition theme T-shirt, people love that stuff. Only the people that got here can get one of these.
Yep.
So
I
Hubert,
like number 2.
yeah, we go with number 2. We didn't have to ask for only one. That's the point, team. Ask for what you keep iterating, keep asking. What else? What else? What else? What other? How else could we go? All right, what else should we ask while we're here on this particular thing?
What would be, let me think. I would now think about what I need now is a USP or elevator speech or some introduction for myself to those connections. Look for some way to say this is who I am, what I do, but without just saying, "Hey, I'm a screen printer, I do t-shirts."
To share with potential referral partners.
Hey Terry, this is completely fictional. So it'd be up to the person that's in the business whether they gave them away or charged for them. I personally would give them away, but I wouldn't give them away to every single person that attended the sporting event. I would give them away to the PTA members, the school officials, the businesses that are there.
Yeah, it's me to the community in a favorable way. And now you can define this, comma, without sounding salesy and in a way that builds trust and connection. What is the next thing, anybody in the chat, that we need here to make this better than what it says right now? What is something that we want here? Okay, I'll give it to you.
Encourage follow-up.
Well, no, what we need is timing, specificity. A
Okay.
short introduction is not good enough. So we want to say, make it about 20 seconds long. You need that specificity in there to get, because otherwise it could go off the rails and da da da. Here we go. And I
If you can
think,
say that in 20 seconds, you're awesome.
Hey, I'm Steve, and I run a local screen printing business with a heart for the community. We specialize in creating high quality, custom sports apparel and merchandise, particularly for schools and sports teams. Our unique approach helps these teams support themselves through branded merchandise. Passionate about bringing people together through great design and quality products, and I'm always looking to collaborate with others who share a commitment to our community and youth sports. Let's see how we can work together to create something memorable. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay. Can
Let's
you
make it about them.
give us a version that is more about the prospective referral partner? And maybe, well, I'll do that first. I have another idea, but we'll do it in stages. So again, we're creating assets, team. Look at this. Hey, I'm Steve, and it's all about supporting our community. I've noticed the fantastic work you do with blank, all about them, and how it positively impacts our schools and sports teams. I'm really interested in exploring ways we can collaborate to enrich our community. My expertise in custom sports apparel could complement your services, and together, I believe we can create even more value. Much better, getting better. Terrific. Can you introduce a bit of humor into this to give rise to a smile or a chuckle that connects on a deeper level? See, again, you can always do this. You can go to the next thing. I turn plate tees into walking billboards for our fantastic community. Da da da. I've seen the work you do. If there are awards for that, you need a bigger shelf, right? This is much better. We could team up like superheroes, you with your blank, me with my magical screen powers. Let's grab a coffee and chat. Again, you keep working on it. You keep Steve's laughing, cracking up. I mean, obviously you're
I'm cracking up at the last sentence. It's like there are so many people in BNI that they say doing something one something at a time.
yeah.
And it's like the go-to phrase that nearly every business starts with. And I just find it amusing. It's like, okay, can we not think of something unique, ChatGPT? Seriously,
Okay, so let's do that.
let's do it. That last sentence is
Cool.
one custom print at a time.
Let's go a little outside the box and make this more edgy and grabby. Don't be afraid to be provocative and a little in their face. Again, why stop, people, right? We're iterating, we're talking, we're going back and forth. We're getting it until we're satisfied, because until we're satisfied, we're not done yet. Okay, so it's a little bit better. The mastermind behind the coolest screen printing gig in town. We don't print on tees. We revolutionize them for schools and sport teams, making the dullest designs come alive. Okay. Good. But we need it to be about them first and then about us. Can you revise? Now it gets better and better. Hey there, I've been watching your moves in whatever, and honestly, you're crushing it. It's like you got this superpower for whatever. It's impossible not to notice. I'm Steve, by the way, the ringmaster of a not average screen printing circus. We jazz up apparel for school and sports scene, turning the ordinary into wearable cool. How about we combine your brain and my flair, stir things up? Let's grab a coffee and plot how we take over the world. Right. As you can see, what are we doing? We're making it more interesting, more unique, different, and there's no reason to stop until you feel like you've got what you want. Hubert, any thoughts, comments? I know there's a lot of chat comments you probably want to make reference.
Yes. And let me actually originally, I'm going to drop something in the chat. Copy, literally copy and paste all of that and put that in your ChatGPT, and then I'll explain what this is. Lately, I've been fooling around with doing this kind of a synopsis kind of request for ChatGPT to issue a report that summarizes the entire conversation. So this is particularly useful if you're working with a client, Steve, and you go through this whole thing just as Richly went with you, and then you want to create a report based on the output. And so this is kind of a cool way. You'll have to edit it, of course, but afterwards, but it gives a great start.
Look at this. Comprehensive report on collaboration for screen printing business promotion. Identification of ideal customer profile. Identification of potential referral partners. Communication strategies with referral partners. Finding referral partners. Charity sporting event participation. Elevator pitch development. Boom. Referred.
Very good.
And the reason how I got to this prompt was, how oftentimes you kind of want to fork a chat, meaning you'd like to start a new chat, but kind of pick up where the last chat left off of. What you could do is create a report like this, copy this report, start a new chat, and then put that in your chat just so that you can kind of continue, like, or start it off as a basis and then fork it into a different direction. So it's kind of a cool way to manually keep multiple variants of a chat discussion going. Now we're in Hubert's hacks territory.
Yeah. Give me a 1 minute video script.
I'm just getting tired of ChatGPT telling me you've got to wait for another hour and a half before we can start using me again.
Notice he took that information, and here we have this whole thing in there. And now we're saying, okay, cool. Give us a 1 minute video script for my homepage is my next. I'm going to just say, oh, well, we got additional strategy. I didn't know about this. Okay, here we go. So now, based on the fact that we already have the summary of everything that came before, there we go. Here comes a video script in real time being written as fast as we can even read it. So again, I hope this has proved valuable for everybody that's watching this. Steve, obviously we can work a lot more closely on really refining these prompts, but any thoughts from you, further thoughts from you on this?
Me? Hubert?
Yeah.
Me.
You.
Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, my brain always goes one step further than I'm now going to spend the next 2 hours going, here, how can I do this? Ultimately, what I've got to do now is, I mean, this information is absolutely fantastic. It's given me a great opportunity to learn more about how I can help my customers. So my goal now is to create prompts that they can use to recreate a similar effect without having to go through the process of creating the prompt in the first place, right? And I'm starting with the little ones. It's like, I've got a prompt that says, okay, give me the top 10 demographics, top 10 psychographics. It then creates that. I then tell it to create an ideal customer profile. I then take the ideal customer profile, put it in a prompt that says, give me my top 8 referral partners.
That's right.
And it's the jigsaw puzzle, putting the pieces together. And then teaching them how they can do this to make their life so much easier and quicker, and obviously get more referrals.
And guys, think about that's exactly what Hubert does in the PAF AI brain. He takes those prompts and puts them into small snippets so that all somebody has to do is go into PAF AI brain and go click, one click. So when we're working with Steve, we'll come up with Steve's prompts. We'll call them something else, obviously, and we'll put them in the PAF AI brain. And literally people will be able to put their URL in there or a body of text and go click once. Okay, there's the psychographics. Click twice. Okay, there's the ideal customer profile. Click. Third time, there's this. All in a matter of seconds, giving a huge advantage over what used to take real serious research.
Yeah.
Now,
lots of money. Only the big guys used to be able to afford to do this.
That's right. Well, Steve, thank you very, very much for joining us. Really,
thank you.
I want to say thanks so much.
One last bit of advice for Steve and others when you're doing this. When Ridgely and I embraced the following, it really opened things up. Because and I mention this a lot to people because it seems a little counterintuitive. Ridgely and I are very open when we're helping to somebody to say, hey, let's do a ChatGPT session together and ask. Meaning, as opposed to hiding the fact that ChatGPT is like your secret back pocket tool. You make that transparent. And in fact, people love you even more and they want the link to the chat and they have ideas and they call you back and say, hey, let's refine that. Like the co-creation process of that transparency is very, very key. And so while I love your prompt library idea, Steve, also having sessions with you, maybe at a premium level where you can co-create prompts together, that could be an awesome offering as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, I know we've only got a few seconds here. That what I'm actually doing, Hubert, is I'm creating a workbook for them to fill in the information themselves. And then in each section, here's a prompt to get you started. So I'm
Nice.
actually linking to a GPT I've created that they can use and use the prompt that's in the workbook to help them fill out the blanks, so to speak. So I'm trying to make it, and yes, they're going to, I mean, they're going to get one-on-one time with me whenever they ask for it.
Nice.
And
That's
let's
not going to be an
think
issue.
about this for a second, how valuable it is what Steve is doing. Because let's just suppose that you're in a business that is much more about manual stuff, landscaping. Like you're a landscaper. So you're not that big into all this computer AI wackadoodle. I don't understand all this. It's going to take over the world. And before you know it, I'm not going to have a lawnmower because it's going to be a robot. Whatever thoughts somebody may have. And along comes Steve Black and says, no, just fill this out, do this. Boom, there's your demographic psychographics. Fill this out, click here. Boom, there's your ideal customer. Fill this out, click there, bam, here's 8 places where you can go find more of those. Boom, all done for you without having to be an AI genius. You don't have to belong to this mastermind. This mastermind is to do exactly what Steve is doing, taking his zone of genius and making it easier for his customers and clients to use what he knows to build their business, whatever it is. Now, some people may be sophisticated enough to be able to figure this all out, but that's not the point. The point is to make it easier for them to get a better result with what Steve does, which is fantastic.
That's awesome. Steve, you rock. I have a special joke just for Steve, originally. Right? All right,
Okay.
ready? Okay. So what do you call someone named Steven on December 31st? New Year's Steve.
Okay, that was actually better than usual. You got to give him a tiny bit of credit, Steve.
Okay, I'll give you a little bit on that one. I'll give you that one.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Steve. We'll talk to you very
Thank
soon.
you both. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you very
Good to
much.
see everybody.
All right. All right, Hugh, any cleanup we have real quick before we wrap this up today? I tell you, I do want to say one thing, and that is our very first mastermind of the new year will be next Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific. Next Wednesday, January 3rd, 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern. Any follow-ups?
Yes. Well, so I do want to specifically acknowledge what David dropped here. And as a matter of fact, Ridgely and I oftentimes use this as a technique when we have a long chat with ChatGPT and we want to ask it which of these output suggestions was the most useful. I'm going to read David's question originally. Can AI prioritize what single message is the most important one to communicate users of other brands to win over to my brand? This is the most important strategic thinking and successfully marketing a brand. So Ridgely's favorite answer is going to be ask AI. So oftentimes what we will do is we'll ask them which is the most important, but Ridgely is fond of saying this: rank the following and score them in what you expect to be the most effective and tell us why. Ridgely?
Yeah, exactly right. Why would you have to figure that out yourself when you have this tool that's going to give you the answer? So again, want to say really, really happy new year to everybody. I'm sure we'll say it again next week. I hope you have a great rest of the holiday kind of week, if you will. Enjoy all of that. Send your questions, comments to support@partnerattractionformula.com. And of course, bring your work output to us so that we have some things that we can use, like Steve did today, for teaching purposes. I thought that was really valuable because there's hardly anybody that couldn't use all of that content that Steve just shared with us. And let me just do one last thing here. while I'm on it. So, which is I want to go and create a a record so that anybody can grab this from the chat real quick. If it serves you, let me just pop that into our chat so you can grab it. That's a great question. You got an answer for that one, Hubert? How do we know AI
Yes.
results are valid?
Yes, so that's especially why, David, and oftentimes when we ask it for output, I often also modify the request and say, please include reasons for why you're making these suggestions. Meaning, you want to make it transparent, not only as a teaching tool, but also for you to vet what the assumptions are.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, team. Thank you very much. Have a great, great rest of this week. Enjoy New Year's Eve, whatever you're doing. And we will see you next week, 3 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody. Hubert, thank you very much. See you on the next one.
You all. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.